Coaches Collaboration Podcast presents
Take Note Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have a lot of time? No problem.
Each week, we'll pick a topic and drop some knowledge in a short, concise mini episode.
Take Note Tuesday is a production of the Coaches Collaboration Podcast, hosted by Cole Warren of Salutum Health and Performance, Josh Pearson of The Complete Athlete, produced by Brooke Stevens.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start up.
Let's go!
So I have half of a bag here. I've
Because
had
you're
like
a little,
three.
you're like a little baby, just one at a time.
I eat
Just
like a little bird.
real small.
Yep. We're eating fruit snacks. That's what this is.
Yeah, we are.
Sorry.
If you hear me smacking, you
Sorry,
can just
people.
smack me if you see me.
I know this is annoying, but I don't really fucking care either.
It's my last day of eating shit for about 2 weeks.
That's
Why?
right.
Because I'm competing. That's
Yeah,
why.
you're competing in 2 weeks, but
By the hair on my balls.
you almost weren't competing.
Right. Yeah.
You almost weren't competing. What happened?
Well, you kind of know this, but at work, I guess I'll actually take a step back. Last podcast, you were talking about how you only have so much water in your jug and you can only pour it, so much into your sleep, so much into work, so much into working out.
Right.
Well, in the last 2 weeks, maybe 3, somebody literally came to my table and knocked everything over and water spilled everywhere.
They took that jug and just dumped
Yep.
it out.
Yep. And then they took their arm and just like squeegeed it into the work bowl and just like kept taking it and taking it. I didn't sleep for shit for 3 weeks.
Really?
Oh, there's so much anxiety
See, you do a good job of...
hiding it.
Yeah, you do.
That's my job.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
what-
for sure, you got to put on a face for your athletes and
Always.
stuff. But yeah, I guess I wouldn't have guessed that it was fucking with you that much, but I totally understand why it would.
Yeah, that plus. So when I found out all the classes were cut.
So let's give let them
we'll
know.
go back. So
Yeah.
I found out that 12 of the 15 classes were cut. We got 5 of them back. Cool. Then I got
That's still...
But still, there's still more to that story. But then I got into that car accident, right? The
Yep.
day of our podcast, because you guys are assholes and made me go get food. So that didn't help. And I even noticed, so to try to fix my car, we had to pull the inside door panels off so we could push out
Right.
just to try to get some of those dents out.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to see what the hot, cold weather that we were having, how that was going to affect the wrinkles in my car.
Yeah.
So we left the door panels off.
Uh-huh.
So for 2 weeks, I sat in my car and it looked like a junker. So even just getting into my car, I wasn't in a good
I
mood.
hear you, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm driving a fucking rust bucket minivan
Well,
every day right now. I
The
hear
good
you.
thing about your minivan is when you open the door, you don't need 2 hands, because if you just grab, when the door panels are off,
Right,
if you
right.
just grab the knob, it literally pull out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it looks so trashy, and every time I had to get out of my car, I felt like shit.
embarrassing. Yeah,
Exactly, because
yeah.
anybody who would see it's like, dude,
yeah.
you need to get a better car. So
Right.
just even that, it was already taken away. But so the classes, so we ended up losing 2 in the morning and 4 in the evening. So I was still down 6.
Right. So all
And-
this work stuff's going on.
Yep.
You-
And my thought was, here's what we're gonna do. In order to remedy this problem with the morning crew, maybe what I can do is bring in an extra class. It's gonna cost more. It's, once a week, it's gonna cost you $25 a month. And all of the morning crew, they were like, yeah, we'll take that class. That way, some days we can miss and it's not that big of a deal, and we're willing to pay the extra money.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a good thing. Then in the evening, same deal. So all of the 4:30 classes are gone. They don't exist anymore. Or at least with the morning classes at the new location, there's a class at 8:30 instead of 9. So at least it's close.
Mm-hmm.
Where the 4:30 class, there's a 4 that nobody can make, and then there's the 5:30. If they wanted to come at 5:30, they would just come at 5:30 with the other classes. So I was trying to figure out, okay, what can I do for these athletes?
So basically, you get all this stuff messed up, your schedule messed up, and you're trying to mitigate the damage that it has on your athletes.
Yeah.
So you're trying to do all this work,
Right.
and then
Well,
you
one second.
figure out.
Of the 40 athletes, we're going to lose about 15 of them.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking at.
Right.
And I didn't want to lose 15 relationships that I had spent.
Right. So you're doing all this work to try to figure out how you can maintain everything.
Yeah.
And then you got the rug pulled out on you again.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was the big one that you're
exactly.
talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the big one I'm talking about. So to me, it was in the morning, I'm going to be bringing in more money. And then in the evening, the classes that I had proposed, it was going to be like double what they were charging for the program already. Yeah, it was just about double. So I'm thinking, this is a great win-win. The athletes get what they want. The evening crew gets classes that, you know, I can make however hard I want them to be, and the gym makes more money. I thought that was a good thing. So I had a meeting on Friday last week, so like 8 days ago, right? 9 days ago. But the Tuesday before that, my boss caught wind that I was trying to do these classes. Well, he took it as an insult, and what he did was one of my athletes went up to him and said, "What can we do to get back our 4:30 classes? Because, you know, we can't make it to 4, you know, we can't do this 5:30. What's going on?" And he said, "Okay, in like a week, we might be able to bring the classes back. But right now we have a coach that's being very deceitful, and I don't know what his position is going to be anymore." And that's what he said to one of my athletes about me.
Damn.
Dude, I don't talk on Take Note Tuesday, but shit is
Yeah.
all I have to say. That's bullshit.
Right. And he said it to her face that, you know, I'm being
And that's a paying member of the gym.
and of this program
Right.
and a potential. Yeah. So this is something that, so taking a step back, in order to get those 5 classes in the evening back, I had a meeting with my boss. And I said, hey, in order to mitigate this problem, can I set up some buddy training so that we can catch these people so they don't leave?
Right.
He said yes. So then this is 3-4 days later. Now he's telling my athletes that I'm being deceitful because either he forgot that we had that or, you know, whatever.
Which
Yeah. So,
could have.
right. So I went up to my manager the next day and I was like, hey, you know, I thought this was cleared. I thought we were doing this. And he said, no, we have to have your boss okay it. And I'm like, wait, he did okay it. We just never agreed on the price. I thought this was fine. Anyway, I have this meeting with him and it's him. It's the manager of this new program. And then it's my manager at the gym. So personal training department, the new group training, and then my boss. 3-1 on a Friday. And they grilled me. They grilled me hard because, and within the first 3 minutes, my boss told me, I want to pull you out of this new program. You're not going to be on the programming panel. I want you out of all of the classes. And if I could have it my way, you wouldn't have anything to do with these athletes at all. That's what he said to me.
Damn.
So I'm looking at him like, huh? I thought
That's your job.
Right. I thought this whole time we agreed that I was doing something good. So that meeting ended pretty quickly. I guess 45 minutes. And
Of you just getting fucking tore a new one.
it was supposed to be 15 because I had an
Jesus
appointment.
Christ.
I had an appointment.
So you had to cancel on one
well, I
of your...
flaked. I didn't cancel. I flaked. He got there. He saw that I was being grilled
Yeah.
and he just knew. He just
Yeah.
left.
Really?
Later on, we've talked about it, and I told him what happened, and he said, I could just tell that it wasn't a good thing.
Right.
And he said, I could see you were on the defensive and they were on the offensive, and that you were just getting grilled. And he said, even if you got out of that meeting, and he said, I know you're really good at it, and you could have put on a brave face and done your job, but I knew you needed a break.
Right.
So he paid me anyway,
Really?
which is crazy
Jesus,
to me.
dude.
But yeah, so for like 3 hours last Friday, I was looking at no classes, period, pulling me completely out of this new program because he thought I was, in a way, giving his new program a
Right.
finger.
Well, and regardless of all the details, like that's your job. That's how you make money. So
Oh,
you're looking
absolutely.
at potentially not
Right.
being able
15 classes a week just got cut. Plus, by being on this programming meeting or this board, I was supposed to be getting paid even more on top of that. So that meeting, excuse me, those damn smileys. So in that meeting, he said, tonight is your last class. I don't even want you to teach Saturday morning. And this was supposed to be the first, group training Saturday class. And at that point, I said, okay, I guess I just don't understand why. And I said, would you just hear me out as to what I was thinking this whole time? So I sat down and I explained, here's where I'm coming from. Like, this is what I thought I was doing, making the gym more money, trying to catch all these people. You gave me the green light. This is what I thought. Well, at that point, he was just done. He
Right.
In his mind, he basically fired me, and all he's waiting for is me to give my resignation.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that my manager, personal training manager, and the manager of this new program, they had no idea because they only heard what my boss had said.
Mm-hmm.
And my
So
boss,
once they heard you out, they're like,
once they heard me
oh.
out, my manager of this group training was like, "Oh shit, that makes absolute sense that you would try to do that. If they're not willing to come to the new location,
Right.
of course you're trying to catch them. You're trying to make the gym more money." So on the side, she messaged me and said, "Hey, if you're still okay with it, I would love to have you Saturday. I would love to have you keep teaching these classes. And if you're willing, because I got declined for those morning classes, if you're willing, I'll let you teach the ones at the other location. They're your classes, if you're willing to do that." So she was willing to work with me, which was really cool.
All right, so let's fucking bring this into you getting hurt.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you're venting about this, but we need to pull this full circle.
Well,
buddy.
so with all of that, tons of stress.
Right,
Tons
exactly.
of stress.
So all this is going on.
Yep.
You are currently 3 weeks and 1 day out from your meet when this happened.
Yes. Yep. So tons of stress. And the day I got the 320 clean, so we had talked about that at our last podcast,
Mm-hmm.
that was in spite of the fact
Right.
that I was so beat up.
Yeah,
I said,
you were basically using that
An
as
RPE
fuel.
11
Yeah,
is what I did.
basically, it was more of a therapy session
exactly.
than
Just-
like a training
Just
session.
a
It's like,
dark
fuck
therapy.
everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So all of this was happening, and especially after that meeting I had, I was done. So I had seen you in the evening. That day,
Yeah.
and I still just didn't feel good. I was still burnt out. That Saturday, my max out session was shit.
Mm-hmm.
Over the weekend, I kind of got over it because I started getting some stuff back. My boss actually told me that I want to have a meeting with you about these classes. So by then he said, "Yeah, you're back in the program. Yeah, you're back. You know, we invite you to come back and teach all your classes and all that shit." So it felt a little better. But last week, Monday, I had a great training session, but Tuesday I woke up and it felt like I had my belt on a little too high and a little too tight. And I said to myself, I've had this pain before. It's not that big of a deal. I can get into it and still do it. Totally. And telling myself, at least show up, at least do it, at least get it done.
So this was, you woke up what day?
Tuesday morning.
So after your max out session on Monday.
No. So I had a max out session Saturday that didn't go very well. Monday, I had a great day.
Right. And then Tuesday you woke up and
Tuesday
you felt
just
funky.
wasn't great.
Yeah.
Went into the gym, did my normal stuff. My last clean of the day, my ribs literally crumbled, where I was hunched over for 45 minutes and I couldn't move.
Really?
Yeah, jacked up.
And of course it's the last.
That was my peak week,
Yeah.
right? So I was hurt Tuesday, didn't work out Wednesday. Thursday is my normal day off. Friday I went extremely light.
Damn.
Yesterday I maxed out just to see because I was ready to pull out of the competition.
Right.
So I said to myself, I'm going to hit my openers and see how they feel. They felt like shit, but I did them without getting hurt. So I still am going to compete in 2 weeks. But
That's a huge mental like kick to the dick.
oh, for sure.
Is when you're
Get hurt.
well, and it's your first meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
First real meet. Yeah.
Right. And you're like, getting everything ready and you're like fucking ramping up and then shit literally hits the fan.
Right.
Personal life hits the fan and then also training fucking hits the fan.
Right.
You
Exactly.
got double.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 weeks, the first 3 days this week, I'm going to purposefully have a little extra volume, not to necessarily try to make up for what I lost, but to keep my athleticism up.
Right.
Because having a week off in the middle,
It's not ideal.
no, my work capacity is going
Right.
to drop, and it's going to drop fast because as I taper, I'm doing less and less volume each day.
Right, because what you're kind of throwing a wrench into your whole peak because you essentially took your taper 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
Because because you were hurt, so you had to take off. So then that's kind of acting like a taper.
Yeah, all of my inflammation is gone. I
Right.
feel fine.
Right.
So,
So you are trying to mitigate peaking early.
exactly.
So you're gonna up the volume again
Yep,
quick.
I have to.
Yep. And
Because
then you're
otherwise
gonna
I'll peak
right.
this weekend.
Right. And then you're gonna pull it again.
Yes,
and
exactly.
then taper into the
so
meet.
what I'm doing is instead of maxing out this Saturday, I'll max out Friday,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to go harder.
Right.
harder than I normally would, beyond my openers, beyond my second attempt. Maybe not go for a PR, but hit something big. That way it gives me like 8 or 9 days recovery.
So I guess this is, I mean, a lot of people out there who have competed know not every meet prep goes ideal.
Right.
There's so much shit that can happen that obviously a lot of it isn't even revolved around training or
Right.
related to training whatsoever, but it affects it for sure. So you have to be able to, and this is why, again, having a coach is nice, because there's sometimes when shit happens and you're like, what the hell do I do?
Right.
And then if you at least have that resource, you can bounce off like, hey, what can we do here to still, make this a successful prep?
Right.
Yeah, a monkey wrench got thrown in here, but are there things that we can do to adjust and recalibrate? And there are things.
Exactly.
So, and that's kind of, you had the ability to realize what happened, and now you're adjusting, and now you're just going to re-taper into the meet, and you'll be good.
Yeah, and in our longer cast this week, if you guys want to figure out how we do our tapers, how we spend the 2 weeks out, what I'm going to be doing specifically to deal with this problem, you're just going to have to tune in.
Yeah. So, take note Tuesday. Be willing to make adjustments. Be willing to, when you know that the plan is kind of fucked, realize that, and then make adjustments, talk to people, figure out what you need to do, because sometimes after something like that happens, sticking to the original plan isn't going to help you.
Yeah, and the best thing is it's my first competition. No matter what I do, it's a PR.
It's a PR, baby.
That's right.
All right.
Take Note Tuesday will drop every Tuesday.
Obviously.
What do you mean you haven't subscribed yet? What the hell are you waiting for?
Take Note Tuesday is a production of the Coaches Collaboration Podcast. Next episode drops Thursday.